G'day, Professor Joseph Drew here. I'm here to talk to you this time about the matter of reforming local government, and in particular about a book that I wrote late last year, released early this year through Springer, that details new, innovative and comprehensive information on how to go about the task of reforming local government. Now, this is incredibly important, particularly in Australia, where we've had disaster after disaster after disaster, where ministers and governments and the citizens that they serve have been absolutely fleeced by commercial consultants who have provided them with rubbish work that most schoolboys would be ashamed to produce. This book is here so that everyone can access the correct, robust, comprehensive theory and know when they're being sold or dud by commercial consultants. It's actually available now. As I said, it came out late last year through Springer, and in links I will put a direct link to the Springer website. I personally get nothing out of books being sold, so this is not me trying to generate some income for myself. It's me trying to get information into the hands of decision makers, into the hands of as many people as possible, so that we can start making some good decisions about local government, so we can enact reforms that actually leave the community better off rather than worse off, which is what we tend to do mostly in Australia. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and tell you about the entire contents of the books. I'm sure would be both bored by that exercise, but I will highlight a couple of the things that are particular to this book. Anyone that reads my research, anyone that's spoken to me, knows that I'm all about doing innovative research. I get very tired of reading the same story over and over and over again. The same approach to local government reform. We should amalgamate, we should not amalgamate, we should have shared services, we should not have shared services. This is not the same boring little story that's been told 100 times, 1,000 times before. This is innovative scholarship based on natural law philosophy, which has never been done before, and introducing some really novel ideas such as sortition. So first of all, I do cover amalgamation and shared services because I know that most local governments are interested in it. I know that most local government ministers and public policy architects are very, very interested in it. I also know that it's usually done very, very badly and many people get hurt because of this. So if nothing else, if you're one of these key decision makers, can you please just buy those chapters and read it so we can stop making the same disastrous mistakes we've made time after time after time, most notably recently in New South Wales. People in the sector just can't keep suffering because people don't have good information. So at least get those chapters if you're a decision maker, please. The next thing I go into is the principle of subsidiarity. That's derived from the natural law tradition. I've got some videos on this YouTube site about the natural law. I write about it a lot. I am a natural law philosopher. I'm published a lot in this field. And in Australia, I guess myself, we're really leading the charge in applying natural law philosophy to the business of doing government. Now, natural law philosophy uniquely answers the question, why have government at all? And then it answers the question about how we somehow seek to balance the needs of the common good, which is what the government's there for, against the essential task of protecting human dignity, which can often be smashed by government. So the principle of subsidiarity looks at this tension, and it specifically lays out two obligations for government to ensure that human dignity is balanced against the common good. I then look at sortition. I'm not the only person to have ever looked at sortition for local government, although it's rather rare. Most of the sortition literature refers to national government. But I am the only academic to have linked sortition to the principle of subsidiarity to natural law philosophy. And the two go together remarkably well. Sortition is an ancient practice of governing. It's very, very consistent with natural law philosophy and the purpose of government, which is to coordinate the common good for the benefit of all people. And I also conduct a very important and a very neglected study on a moral inquiry into local government finance. Particularly I look at the morality of public debt, and I look at the morality of different taxation schemes and how to do the taxation, run the taxation schemes properly. I'm sure there's plenty of material in there for everyone. I was thinking particularly of local government ministers, premiers, heads of local government departments when I wrote this book. To tell you the honest truth, you've been misled really badly by commercial consultants over many decades who have fleeced you for huge amounts of money and provided you with schoolboy level analysis on which to base your policies. And I don't want you to be misled and fleeced anymore, so I'm giving you the proper information, the robust and defensible theory, so that you will know better in the future than to expect to accept these silly little efforts from commercial consultants that charge so much and deliver so little. Well, they do deliver. They deliver a lot of misery for a lot of people that's unnecessary. The next people I have in mind are those commercial consultants who I dislike so much. Look, please read the book. It's all in a nice, accessible form. You know, surely when you're charging $400,000 or $500,000 for your consultation, surely you can afford the couple $100 for the book, and you can afford to spend 2 or 3 days reading it and understanding basic economic theory and basic concepts about human dignity and how human nature works, so that you don't mess up people's lives unnecessarily. I also wrote it with academics in mind. As I say, I get tired of reading the same debates in academic literature. I want to do innovative new things, and that's what this book does. So if you're up for innovative scholarship, if you're up for being exposed to things that you've never thought about before, or being asked to think about something such as amalgamation in a way that's never been approached before, well, this is a book for you. And also postgraduate students and in local government studies, master's students, certainly anyone even considering a PhD in this field ought to be getting their hands on a copy of this book and reading it prior to doing their literature review. So in summary, this book is for anyone who wants to read innovative thinking on how to really make a positive change for local government, and that's all I'm interested in. I've got a few years left in academia and a few years left on this earth probably. I just want to make a positive change. I want people to think better about local government, and as a result be able to serve the people better through local government. Just before I go, I almost forgot to tell you, I have a new book coming out at the end of this year called Saving Local Government. It's written entirely for a different audience. It's written for your typical councillor, mayor, your typical general manager or chief executive officer of a local government. It's really, really important that as many people as possible get their hands on it and understand the reason for why we do what we do and the reasons why we oughtn't be doing some of the things that we are doing. I'll make a video on that very shortly, so look out for that in the next couple of weeks. Thank you.